Welcome back. Stay with me as we expand our knowledge with videos from all over the internet that's going to make you question reality. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also share with your friends. And also click on the notification bell icon so that any content that I post, you will be the first to get it. Let's just start.
Zelensky says Putin will die soon. The Ukrainian president's damning assessment of Putin's health came during a sit-down interview with journalists in Paris following a meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron yesterday. Despite his attempts to project an image of hypermasculinity, Putin has long faced rumors that he suffers from health issues. In recent years, the 72-year-old has appeared to have a puffy face, a twitching leg, and bloodshot eyes, only fueling the speculation further. One particularly famous incident in 2022 saw the president slouching in his chair while gripping a table and slurring his words during a meeting with then Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu. There have also been reports of him coughing incessantly and his hands and feet making seemingly involuntary jerky movements. On several occasions, he appeared to walk with a limp. There have also been claims that he might have cancer and Parkinson's disease.
It was easy to colonize Africa because of our value systems. We were welcoming to visitors. Kindness was also an important virtue in African society. Unfortunately, the values that were held in high regard in African society were the same values that made Europeans view us as naive and inferior. In short, our kindness was taken for weakness. The same thing happened to the Aztecs in South America. After Christopher Columbus's first voyage, he described the natives as so naive, so free with their possessions. When you ask for something, they never say no. To the contrary, they offer to share with anyone. To European imperialists, being kind to one another, let alone strangers, was not a common occurrence. You see, by 1601, the Dutch had already established the first stock exchange in history. This also means that capitalism began to take shape in European society. In essence, it was every person for themselves. May the best businessman win. So when they set foot in Africa and saw people living in harmonious communal societies, we became targets, easy targets. And that's how precious minerals and other resources were siphoned out of Africa to build Europe.
Anybody in this room right now can blow up on TikTok if they was consistent.
Do you feel like if you were to start from scratch, could you do it all over again?
100%. Bro, I wrote the book to blowing up. I know the formula. I can give it to you for free right now.
Okay, if you had to start over.
I would start on TikTok. I didn't have TikTok back then.
Right.
But if I was starting over from
Today.
zero, I would start on TikTok. I go live every day. I post a TikTok every day, every single trend, every single trendy song, boom, boom, boom. I would link with pretty girls, film videos, make the audience fall in love with us. And then from there, I would incorporate my friends and family. When you got an ecosystem of people around you that you see every day, it's easy for you to come up with ideas. But I would definitely start on TikTok before anything and then move over to YouTube.
Got it. So at what point would you move from the TikTok platform to YouTube?
I would do it at the same time, but I would focus more on TikTok.
Why? Do you feel like it's an acceleration tool that just didn't exist back then?
Yeah. TikTok is anybody in this room right now can blow up on TikTok if they was consistent.
Do you feel like consistency is the only key that matters on TikTok?
The only thing in any social media. I say that everybody come up to me all the time. I just want some advice, bro. I just want to know how I can make it. Like, bro, you just gotta be consistent. All right, bro, can I take a picture? They don't listen to it.
Right,
you know?
right.
Like, bro, you gotta be consistent. You gotta go every single day. That's the only way.
These people told us it was illegal, not unlawful, as if we're living people. But they told us it was illegal, like we're minors, like we're incompetent. They said it was illegal for humans to interact with wild dolphins. Why? Now we found out dolphins can talk. Look it up. Look up the woman. Look up the woman with the dolphin that's excited saying mama to her. I love you. Dolphins can talk. But we all had a hunch, right? We all kind of knew that dolphins have always communicated with humans. Orca as well. Orca, one of the biggest apex predators in the ocean. Still majestic enough to let a human keep his life. These two mammals that live underwater are our family, our aqua family, and they're under attack. By who? By who? By what? And why? we're at that point of life where it's time to start turning different wheels. We gotta say no and stand up eventually. Nature, our allies, our friends are even asking us. The more that we sit back and we be sleep, everything around us has to pay the consequences. I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just saying. I'm just acknowledging that these animals, these beings, these spirits that live in the water, they have a deeper connection to us than we were taught. And if you don't believe it, just look up the experience.
This is why you need to get rich fast now. Most people think that they have time. You don't. The window to building serious wealth is closing. Here's why. Number one, AI and automation are replacing your jobs. If your income isn't tied to ownership, creativity, investments, you're at risk. Number two, inflation is crushing your purchasing power. What used to cost $1 now costs $8. If your income isn't doubling, you're falling behind. Number three, your wealth gap is widening. The rich are pulling ahead at an extreme rate. If you're not actively building, you're never going to catch up. Here's what you should do. You should focus on speed into high income skills, scalable businesses now. Invest aggressively. You're just saving, you're losing. More money needs to grow faster than inflation. Number three, surround yourself with the winners, not your fucking broke friends. Mindset is shaped by your environment. It isn't a game that you can afford to play slowly. Speed is the key to survival.
Chinese robots are getting a lot more human, not in looks, but in movement. The G1 can do kung fu, side flips, and just today we learned it can also do sweep kicks. Lingxi 2 can ride a scooter, a hoverboard, even a bicycle. PM01 is excellent at front flips, which are notoriously challenging, and Star 1 runs at 8 miles per hour with shoes on faster than most of us humans. Now the question is, what are the applications of this agility other than chasing down humans the government doesn't like? Let me give you 3 real-world applications that China is envisioning for its humanoid robots, but first, a bit of context. So the point of these demonstrations, which have been very many coming out of China recently, isn't to show off. It's to show the movement intelligence of this new wave of Chinese robots and the progress that they've made in learning complex motion beyond simply walking. Remember, these robots are not going to stay in the lab forever. They're made for the real world, so they're going to come out to a world inhabited by humans, to a world with different environments, different terrains. They're going to interact with humans, with human-made objects. So for them to be useful, they will have to move like humans naturally and dynamically. First up, factories. This is where the Chinese humanoid robots are going to go first, manufacturing, and case in point, Walker S1 by Ubitech. Just a couple of weeks ago, we saw a team of this robot trained collectively at a car factory in Shenzhen in South China. They collaborated with each other as a unit using AI decision-making without human interference. They self-organized, distributed tasks among themselves, and even powered up each other when batteries ran low. The same company is also partnering with Foxconn, so Walker S1 can be part of the assembly line of iPhones. Second up, service jobs. One day, Chinese humanoid robots will become home assistants, elderly companions, or even work in the hospitality world, like in coffee shops, for example. And on that front, Chinese engineers are really working on the dexterity of robots, developing their hand movement so they can mimic human hands, but also be able to use human tools. Star 1 can already use chopsticks, which I wouldn't expect anything less from a robot designed in China. And this hand by Magic Lab can grip anything from an 11-pound weight to a cherry. Impressive precision, which one day could be helpful in surgery. And finally, disaster response. Earthquakes, fires, wherever there's chaos, there could be a Chinese humanoid robot there to help in whichever capacity, because they already can navigate complex terrains and adjust to changing conditions. We haven't seen any demonstration on that front yet, not in China or elsewhere, but this RoboDog from the same company that did the Kung Fu robot is now capable of rescue and search missions. So yeah, this is just a few examples of what the future holds for Chinese humanoid robots. This is no longer sci-fi. This is already in the making. If you guys have any more questions, I'm happy to do the research for you.
Dude, that was impressive. I gotta say, I saw you on the camera. What? We are the last CEOs who are only going to be managing humans as our workforce. From this point forward, this is the marking that we will be managing not only human workers, but also digital workers. That's just fascinating to me that we are at that moment that we're going to say, yeah, this is when humans and AI are working together to create a higher level of success.
What? Too many Christians seem to be confused about where we go when we die and where we go when Jesus comes back. For instance, Jesus isn't coming back to take anyone with him to heaven. No, that is not what the Bible says anywhere. The Bible says Christians go to heaven when we die. When we get there, we get a new body, a spiritual body fit for heaven, like the angels have, equal unto the angels, actually, equal. And when Jesus returns, all the Christians in heaven come with him in their new spiritual bodies. There will be a group of Christians alive on the earth when that happens, but they're going to meet us in the air on the way down. They won't die. They'll be changed into that new spiritual body without having to go to heaven. They'll meet us in the clouds of heaven in their new spiritual bodies, like we will have. But then we as a group are all coming back to the earth, not as mortals made of flesh and blood, but as immortals made of spirit from heaven. Jesus is coming back and bringing us with him to fight Armageddon and reign on earth for 1,000 years after subduing the nations. This whole Jesus coming back thing is not about going to heaven. It's about coming back from heaven with him. He's coming back from heaven and reigning on earth for 1,000 years with him after fighting Armageddon. And then after the 1,000-year reign, Satan, who went into hell for the first time at Armageddon, will be loosed from hell for a short season to deceive the nations down to Armageddon Part 2. Fire will rain down from God out of heaven and destroy them. Heaven and earth will flee away and be found no more. Christ will sit upon his throne for the final judgment. He is God Almighty after all. And then he'll make heaven and earth new. Heaven will come down to earth. God himself on his throne will dwell there, heaven reconciled to earth in eternity. And we will live forever in paradise with God on a new earth where heaven has come down. That is the story the Bible tells consistently in every place. We go to heaven when we die. Heaven is like a womb. We get a new body there to be born again when Christ comes back. And the whole point is not to go to heaven. It's to reign with Christ on earth for 1,000 years. People have been begging me for shorter videos. Here's one. You want the scriptural references? It's 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. It's 1 Corinthians 15. It's Luke chapter 20. It's Revelation 14. It's Revelation 19 and 20. 21 and 22. Go on ahead and read that then.
If you're smoking bud, then you need to hear this. So allegedly, they're finding small traces of fentanyl in people's marijuana. This has been found in 10 different states so far. Pay attention, because this is really sketchy. It's been detected that this fentanyl is being sprayed on purposely. Now, I'm not saying anything, but they could easily target people if they wanted to. Marijuana shops coming up. Even the bud isn't safe anymore. You have to be mindful of where you're getting it from. Go and look up the states that are having problems right now and see if you're in one of those states. Allegedly, this isn't just happening from bags that you're getting on the street. It's happening from bags that you're buying from a shop too. Really not safe right now. I personally don't smoke, but anybody who does smoke, this is something you need to think about now. Fentanyl is a really big problem right now. There are ways of detecting this. So do your own research and keep yourself safe. Let me know if you live in one of these states that's having a fentanyl problem. Educational and entertainment purposes, as always. Stay safe out there.
Have you ever wondered what would happen if you trusted God completely? George Muller did just that. He opened orphanages for over 10,000 children in England. But here's the amazing part. He never asked anyone for money. He only prayed and trusted God to provide. One morning there was no food for the children. Muller gathered them at the table and began to pray, thanking God for the meal that wasn't there yet. Suddenly there was a knock at the door. A local baker stood outside with fresh bread. He said, "I couldn't sleep last night. I felt like God wanted me to bake this for you." As if that wasn't enough, moments later, a milk cart broke down right in front of the orphanage. giving them all the milk they needed. George Muller's life was a living testimony of God's provision. He proved that when you trust in God fully, miracles happen. What will you trust God for today?
Terabyte internet speeds will be commonplace. By 2030, 6G could replace 5G. Some experts estimate that it could be 100 times faster than 5G, which equates to 1 terabyte per second. At that speed, you could download 142 hours of Netflix movies in 1 second. 6G will also make it possible for cyberspace to support human thought and action in real time through virtual reality and brain-computer interface devices mounted on the human body. This would result in virtual reality experiences that feel and look just like real life. Additionally, the Internet of Things will have the potential to grow by further orders of magnitude. It wouldn't just connect billions of objects, it would connect trillions of objects. Number 12. Smart grid technology will become widespread in the developed world. Smart grids will provide the following advantages. Smart grids allow energy to be transmitted in both directions through power lines. This means that homes and businesses can add surplus electricity into the system so that no energy goes to waste. Smart grids will be adaptable to the sporadic power output produced by solar and wind energy sources, which will make large-scale renewables more feasible. With a smart grid, if a broken transmission line causes a blackout, sensors instantly locate the damaged area while electricity is rerouted to the affected area. This will lead to fewer noticeable blackouts in the future. In the coming decades, smart grids will expand to even larger scales. Entire regions and countries will begin merging the grids together. Number 13, foldable electronics could become commonplace. By the mid-2020s, printed electronics could explode into the mainstream, creating a new generation of ultra-thin electronics. By 2030, they will have such low fabrication costs that they'll be commonplace in countless everyday business and consumer applications, meaning previously bulky or heavy devices could be folded, stored, or carried as easily as sheets of paper. This includes flexible TV displays that could be rolled or hung like posters. Foldable smartphones and foldable ebooks could also become widespread. Number 14, open source 3D printed clothing will be near zero cost. 3D printing will become a mainstream consumer technology and produce items of clothing for just a few cents. By as early as 2024, 3D printing will be over 30 times faster than it was in 2014. Millions of open source designs will be available to download. Sweatshops in developing countries could decline as a result, with the low-paid factory jobs being made obsolete. Number 15, 100 terabyte hard drives will become mainstream. By 2026, 50 terabyte consumer-level hard drives will be on sale. And by 2030, consumer PC users will have access to 100 terabyte hard drives. This will become possible due to an innovative technique known as heat-assisted magnetic recording, which will allow data to be written to much smaller spaces. Additionally, hard drives will begin using multiple actuators at a time, which will multiply reading and writing speeds of storage data. These hard drives will help us store 8K and 16K resolution videos. Additionally, they'll help us run apps and store files that involve technologies like virtual reality, augmented reality, advanced video editing, artificial intelligence, and more.
Do you still believe that NASA and SpaceX rockets weigh millions of pounds and travel 17,000 miles per hour? Oh, that's cute. Well, you sure they aren't just giant helium-filled balloons? In this video, I'm going to show you a few things, and what I would like you to do is just look at them with an unprogrammed mind. Look at them with a blank slate, and don't believe anything you've ever been told in the past, but just look with fresh eyes. Now, what I did in this first video that I want to show you is I removed the sound, because sound can deceive the eyes. If it sounds really fast, it can trick the mind into thinking it's moving fast. But with no sound, you can see how slowly this rocket takes off. And yeah, of course, if it weighed tons and tons of pounds or millions of pounds, it would start off slow. But I just want you to watch and notice that this isn't accelerating. It's continuing to just move at a snail's pace, maybe at the pace of what a helium balloon would look like if all of a sudden it was let go. And in a minute, I want to have you compare it to the clouds in the background, and you can see how slowly it's moving compared to the clouds. Now here it is, and I'm going to watch as they switch views, because they always switch views, and I just want you to watch how it's not gaining any speed. It's just continuing to meander slowly like a balloon. And then what I want to show you is its descent back to Earth. Okay, here's that rocket after it had reached a certain height, and now it's going to return back to Earth. And what it looks like to me as it's losing some sort of gas. I wonder what gas that could be. And then it's going to start falling to Earth. And again, does it look like something that's falling that weighs millions of pounds? Or does it simply look like a helium balloon that has had some air let out of it and now is meandering slowly back to Earth? You be the judge. And here it is, continuing to fall slowly compared to the clouds in the background. And at a certain point, they're going to cut. And then amazingly, it's going to look like a totally different rocket. And because they switched to CGI. And now it's going to magically land perfectly upright as they do. Wow. Let me show you some more. Next, I want to show you some video of a NASA fuel tank that was jettisoned as it makes its way back down to Earth. And first, I want to show you that it weighs 66,000 pounds. What a strange number. Now let's look at that 66,000 pound tank falling at free fall speeds. Does that look like free fall speed to you? Or does that look like another balloon that has lost some pressure and is meandering slowly back down to Earth? Like I said, look at this with unprogrammed, completely unprogrammed, fresh eyes. I know what I see. Now I simply want to point out this supposed multi-million pound aircraft having slight lift and then floating back down, up and down, up and down. Wow, I've never seen millions of pounds maneuver so easily. And why don't we take a look at this path it takes? Notice how it kind of flies off at an angle. I've seen balloons kind of take off at an angle. How does millions of pounds take off at an angle? Ask yourself these questions. And well, if you still just think I'm crazy and you're not convinced, have you ever seen this footage of this NASA rocket that looks like a balloon that had some air let out of it and collapses? Interesting. But they're the government. They would never deceive us with balloons. Oh, and by the way, do you know who the single greatest consumer of helium is in the entire world? That's right. A lot of people think it's for their satelloons, but I tend to think it's more for their fake rockets. I just want to leave you again with this final little lasting image of a rocket with some fake pyrotechnics underneath it, traveling at 17,000 miles per hour. Of course, this is all for entertainment purposes. I know that it's perspective, and because I'm so far away, it looks like it's going slow. And of course, it's millions of pounds. It takes forever to get going 17,000 miles per hour. And that's definitely falling at free fall speed. I'm just trying to be funny. I don't really think NASA's a fraudulent agency whose job is to keep us trapped on a ball created from a big bang and making us think that we're spinning thousands of miles per hour in a godless world and that we just came from primordial ooze that crawled out and developed legs and then turned into monkeys and then turned into us. Nah. They're real. They're real. NASA's awesome. I love NASA. Entertainment only.
Bishop to d4.
Rook to c7.
Ha! Bishop to d5.
Are you sure? Have you checked everything?
I am a superior intelligence, and I have analyzed 1 million possible moves in the time it took you to blink. See what happens now.
All right. Rook to b7.
Wait, what? Why would you do that?
1 million possible moves. And you didn't see this one?
Of course I saw it. I just didn't expect you to do this. But fine, say goodbye to your queen. Bishop to c6.
Rook to b1. Checkmate.
What? How did that happen? Are you sure you moved my piece like I said?
Amika, you can't accuse me of cheating every time you lose.
You're lucky I can't flip the table.
In the Bible, there was times when people needed to be freed. 1 in 3 African Americans are in prison in America. And we be concerned about a ball game, about a rap album, about some beef. The messaging on the radio stations is all about how you need to cheat on your man and cheat on your boyfriend and cheat on your girlfriend. All this control music, people ain't even writing their own rhymes. It's all set up. It's all part of the system, bruh. If you ever sold drugs, you sold drugs to a cop. Where you think the term trap came from? A Fed made that up as a joke. Let's tell them, call it the trap. These dumb, we in a trap. You know what I'm saying? Oh, well, why don't everybody get locked up? Because they need people to make more slaves. And there's going to be a whole bunch of people calling me like, you ain't supposed to mention that in Sunday service, though. But this something God put on my heart. I ain't on this video. You know, I'm yay. Here's what I see. If you believe that Jesus died for your sins, then you know the gospel. That's the gospel. Don't be telling me Mormons got an extra book and Catholics do this. It's simple. Christians, we be making it too hard for people to come and be involved in this. To make it clear for the message of the media, it's simple. The gospel saved my life. When I was chasing the fame and my name, all that was brought was pain and shame. But through Christ, God has made things come alive. All the dreams, all the visions. He's kept my family together. He's brought my mind back. He's brought back my sanity. He's brought back the clarity. I'm in a position that very few black people are. On TV, on the internet, saying exactly what I feel. You tell me somebody else. So you ain't always got to agree with me. But I tell you what, if they throwing slave nets again, how about we don't all stand in the exact same place?
Greatest genius when it came to the building of the pyramids, do you know what
those are white people, by the way.
Who are white people?
The Egyptians are not African. I'm sorry.
Do you know where Egypt is?
Yes, it's in North Africa.
Okay, stop. You stop right there. You just said that you said the Egyptians are not African.
Are white South Africans African?
Wait. Yes, they are African. See, okay, to be African means you come from the continent of Africa. So if you come from the continent of Africa, that's who you are. So that means you're an African. So you do know. Do you also deny science that man originated from Africa, or do you say that's false science?
What are you talking about? I mean, what are you referring to?
I'm talking
science.
Archaeology. I'm talking biology. I'm talking science. In terms of the where did man originate? Where scientists, white scientists.
Egypt was an amazing civilization. It was not created by black Africans. I'm sorry.
It wasn't. Who created it?
People who are white.
How are people?
You can look at. You can actually look at art, and they differentiate between races.
I got to ask you a question. How do you
from ancient Egyptian art?
You do know those were black people. You do know.
They weren't.
You do know from science, you can't get black from white. You can get white from black. You do know when it comes to evolution.
What?
When it comes.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Dude, you never studied science?
I see what you're. Yes, I have.
No, so but
I mean, I'm not a scientist.
But
are you?
But man originated in Africa. Yes or no?
That is a consensus. Yes.
Okay. So if man originated in Africa, which means that they were Africans, then all of a sudden, when you talk about the amazing works of the Egyptians, they were people of color. I know that's a little rough for you to handle, but I know you want to hold on to that, somehow thinking whites built the pyramids. But I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, we did.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Because, first of all, they were building things in Egypt while white Europeans were still in caves. That's a fact.
That's
a fact. Okay.
Sure.
See, here's how you run a relationship. Let's say you get dressed up and you're putting on a tie and you're getting ready to go, and she says, oh, that tie doesn't match. And you go, okay, pick out another one. See, You're a guy. You want to please a woman. That's what we're designed to do, and make her happy. If it makes her happy, I don't care what kind of tie I wear. So I put on another tie. She likes it. So then next time I'm getting dressed, I put on a tie. She says, oh, that tie's wrong. You should put on this other tie. So you go and you do it. And once you've done that 3 times, something happens inside of you. You change. Your brain changes. When you're getting ready, now you're going to pick this tie and you're going to doubt yourself. And you go, should it be this tie or this tie? And you'll go to her and you'll say, should I wear this tie or this tie? And now you become a girl.
Did you know that your company might be playing white noise in order to distract and calm you if you work in an office setting? Allow me to show you. So when I say office setting, I mean something like this. Now, if you pay close attention, there are a bunch of these speakers in this office. It's like every other ceiling tile. And to some people, it might sound like the air coming from the vent. But check this out. So up here, there's a couple of wires, a couple of Cat 5 cables, and this is the speaker, as you can see. Now, if you listen closely, you hear a static sound, right? Sounds like air coming from a vent, but it's literally a speaker. Now, if we go over to this side and I unplug this cable, silence. Back on. Silence. Now, you're probably wondering, why would they do something like this? So the real reason is to increase productivity. So they want to help their employees help focus and minimize the sounds of keyboards clicking and pens clicking, people walking past your desk with the keys and the badges jingling and whatnot. And it's also one of those things that just help people lock in and focus. It's just one more of those psychological mind tricks that corporate companies use in order to get the most out of their employees. Follow my page for more tips and tricks that corporate companies use to get you to be more productive.
So apparently there's about to be a Million Man March on the 5th of April. And black people are gonna stay home, right? This is not a friendly reminder. This is an aggressive reminder. Stay your ass at home. Because I want y'all to really think about the fact that everything that the T-Man is doing with these executive orders and stuff is to rile up black people. They want y'all upset. They just said they were getting ready to pardon the man who unalived George Floyd. Do I think they're going to do it? Absolutely. They have to rile up black people. Look at all the people he's already pardoned who committed crimes. Horrific crimes, by the way. If they pardon those people, they absolutely about to pardon that man who unalived George Floyd. If that's true, if they're planning on doing it, they're gonna do it. It's gonna go through. Okay. And if you are black and you get out there, you're gonna be the example. Okay. When they decide that they want to unalive someone or get rough with somebody, they're gonna point out that black person who should have stayed their ass at home. They're gonna point you out in the crowd and they're gonna make an example out of you. And what's going to happen after that is that when you unalive, your death is going to be for nothing, because the rest of us aren't going to protest your death either. Okay? I hope I'm clear. The reason why is, number one, out of fear, because we don't want to suffer the same fate as you, because you should have stayed your ass at home. And the second reason is I'm going to think, I'm pretty sure this person wanted to die. This black person did not want to live. That's why they went out there to protest, because they thought protesting was gonna do something, or they deluded themselves, or whatever they thought. I don't know. But the very fact that that black person got up and took their asses out there after we all said not to, they had a death wish. That's literally what I'm gonna think. And so because I think you want it to unalive out there, and because I fear the same thing happening to me, I'm not going to protest your death. So your death will be for nothing, black man or black woman. And I am not the only one who share these sentiments. The rest of us are like, we're not getting out there. You are going to be the example. And furthermore, in order for this protest to work, even though protests don't work, by the way, in case y'all didn't know, protests don't work. And even if they did work, they don't work in 2025. But the only way that they are going to work and get their point across is if black people don't go. I want you to think about this. Because if we get out there, we're going to become the focal point, because one or two or multiple black people are going to be unalived or brutally injured, or something horrible is going to happen. And it's going to take the whole focus off of what was supposed to happen. And it's going to be, oh, this person unalived Shakita or Marcus or whoever, right? And then no progress is going to be made. Their goal, the setup, is to get black people out there so they can use us as an example and as target practice to, enact their martial law or whatever they're planning on doing in this economy, or to black and brown people or minorities or whatever plans they have going on. They're going to use a black person that's out there protesting as that example to say, okay, well, now we have to enact martial law. That's it. And your death is going to be for nothing. Because again, none of us are going to protest your death, black people. We're just going to be at home like, damn, that's fucked up. What we eating for dinner? So I want y'all to think about that. Please. I know I want to say 90-something% of us are on board, but any black person that goes out there, I promise you, I am going to assume that you wanted those people to unalive you. And who are we to stand in your way? If that's what you want, you got it, boo-boo.
What percentage of the Bible you think is real?
Probably 2 to 5%. Because most of what's really supposed to be in the Bible is not in the Bible. There's a lot of stories that's taken out the Bible that's not in the Bible.
Remix.
Yeah, the Bible is remixed, homie. It done been rewrote, recopywritten, and all kinds of shit. So you can't put God in a book.
I can go for that.
Whether that's Islam, nigga, if you got a book for me, then I don't want that God.
Yeah, God inside.
Whether that's Islam,
that's
Christianity, if
right
you got a book for me to read, I don't want your God.
Whoa, I've been saying that, man. Hold up.
Shit.
If it's in a book,
I don't want you. Yeah, no. If I got to go to scripture.
Cause who told you?
There you go. Who was up there with Jesus at the mountain when he said he was by himself and he was talking to God? He went by himself. How they know what he said to God? In the beginning, God said to himself, let there be light. Who was with God to know God said?
Bruh, I be saying this shit. What you saying? Like, who know? Who know?
Man, I think everybody playing, my nigga.
Send me a hat, bro. I'm gonna get
I got a bunch of...
Keep yours. Send me.
No.
This is wild. Newly declassified CIA documents reveal that in 1988, the CIA located the Ark of the Covenant. If you don't know what the Ark of the Covenant is, it is an ancient artifact that people around the world have been searching for in a real-life treasure hunt. It is a wooden chest encrusted in gold, and inside, it is supposed to hold the original tablets of the 10 Commandments. The documents show that this was under Project Sunstreak. They used remote viewing to find the Ark of the Covenant, which they say now is in Ethiopia. In other words, they used advanced psychics and people that were well-versed in telepathy. We know that the CIA and the intelligence communities have been using these gifted people for their different various projects for a while now, but to see it written down on these declassified documents is crazy. Those documents believe that the Ark of the Covenant is in Ethiopia, but there's been a lot of speculation if Donald Trump has the real Ark of the Covenant at Mar-a-Lago because he has a complete replica of it there. Was the worldwide treasure hunt over, or has it just began? As always, I want to hear what you think about all of this down below.
This guy has officially become the biggest meme on the internet. Alright, his name is Ashton Hall. Over the past few days, he's racked up hundreds of millions of views on social media. If you know anything about social media, you'd know this kind of thing doesn't happen often. Here's what's going on. Every morning, he follows a bizarre routine. He wakes up at 3:30 a.m., washes his face with Saratoga water, and then spends 6 hours doing a series of puzzling activities before starting his workday. Honestly, at first, I had no idea why he was doing this. Then I checked Amazon and saw that Saratoga water was completely sold out. Are you kidding me? He basically handed Saratoga water a marketing opportunity that brands could only dream of. But that might not actually be a good thing. Ashton has turned Saratoga water into a meme. Now, people all over the world are mocking him, buying the water, taping their mouths shut, and dunking their heads into buckets. To be honest, I wouldn't call this a successful marketing strategy. Sales exploded, yet the company did absolutely nothing. I mean, if you were the CEO of Saratoga water, what would you do? Let me hear your thoughts.
What do you think is going to happen with Elon long term with Trump?
I think he's acutely aware of his limitations in America. He cannot physically be president. If he could be president, I think there is a concern. Because eventually he'll go, when they have an impasse, he'll just go, I'll just run against you. The laws dictate he cannot. The only other thing he could do is leverage the Democrats, which have already made him radioactive. Like, no Democrat can side with Elon. So Elon is as far as he can go in America. He can't go any further. There's that great line in Game of Thrones where, like, Cersei is talking to Littlefinger, and Littlefinger is like, what I've learned over the years is that knowledge is power. And there's all these guards around her, and she goes, guards, slit his throat. And they all walk up and put a knife to his throat. And then she goes, guards, stand down. Guards, take 2 steps back. Guards, take 6 steps back. And then she goes, power is power. And it's just so fire. And it's like, Trump has power. Power is power. That is the closest Elon can get to power. And I don't think there's another president that will allow Elon to have that access to power. So Elon either has to hope there's another person that he could ride with and establish a relationship. And maybe that's JD, but he have to wait to the next administration anyway. So what he can't do is sour all the Republicans on him.
Here are 3 things in Japan that'll absolutely give an American a heart attack, coming from somebody who's been living here for the past 2 months. So of course, everybody's familiar with escalators and elevators, but in Japan, the stairs are where the difference comes in. In Japan, they have calories listed on each step to show you how many calories your fat ass would burn if you chose to take the stairs instead of going up the escalator or the elevator, and this is absolutely fucking hilarious to me. Japan has absolutely zero problems fat shaming its citizens, which is probably why obesity isn't an issue here. Next up, we have how quiet it is, and honestly, I don't think people really understand. You could be in the middle of a crowded area and this is what it sounds like. So outside of the occasional conversation or tourist, you really don't hear much, and I can honestly appreciate how quiet, respectful, and organized everybody is. And finally, this last one is probably the weirdest one for me, coming from America and then also living in Southeast Asia and in Europe, and it's the fact that smoking cigarettes in public is not allowed. That also includes vapes and e-pens as well, but they do have designated smoking areas, so if you do want to smoke, you can usually find them on the street in places that look like this. But what makes this crazy is the fact that there are no public intoxication laws in Japan, which means not only can you drink alcohol in public, you can get absolutely blackout drunk and nothing is gonna happen to you. You're not gonna get arrested, you're not gonna get a ticket, absolutely nothing. And not only is this legal, but it's also very normal for you to see businessmen in suits and ties blackout drunk from the night before, sleeping on a bench or on the train somewhere, which is absolutely insane to me because doing any of this will get you a first-class ticket to jail in America.
The future will not be held in your hand, and it won't be on your face either. Sorry, this is my wife. Hello?
Hey babe, are you a Ted?
Yeah, I'm on the red circle right now, actually.
Oh, great. Good luck, and don't forget to mention me.
I won't, babe. Thank you.
Love you.
Love you too. It's a new kind of wearable device and platform that's built entirely from the ground up for artificial intelligence. And it's completely standalone. You don't need a smartphone or any other device to pair with it. In fact, I'm wearing one right now. And it interacts with the world the way you interact with the world, hearing what you hear, seeing what you see. We like to say that the experience is screenless, seamless, and sensing. Say you're health conscious, or you have certain types of food considerations. Picked up one of these chocolates. Can I eat this?
A Milky Bar contains cocoa butter. Given your intolerance, you may want to avoid it.
My AI knows what's best for me, but I'm in total control. I'm gonna eat it anyway.
Enjoy it.
These examples are just the start. As AI advances, we will see how it will transform nearly every aspect of our lives in ways that will seem unimaginable right now.
Process where I was taken into negotiations where they showed me so many beautiful things, money, luxury items, cars, fancy cars, you name it, and lifestyles. You know, I saw myself shopping super luxury brands. Like, there is a way the devil was kind of like showing these things on the screen, and then at the back of those things, then God was showing me the darkness behind those things. And I don't know how to explain this, because before I used to hear people say, God spoke to me, and I'm like, did God come to sit there and speak to you? Like, how did you hear God? I heard God, I saw God. Like, He was literally there showing me the darkness. Like, if I dare said yes to these things, I was ready to fall into that darkness. So God warned me, and the devil continued showing me. And at every end of a slide, I could be asked yes or no, right? So I could be asked yes or no. So, and then I was like, everything was beautiful. So I was like, wow, 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 wow. And at the end, I'm like, no. My spirit said no. And we do it again and again. More luxury, more money, more cars, more beautiful things. And I'm like, wow. Well, you know, the crazy part is I was awake. This was not a dream. I was eyes awake. My body was laying down, and I would see all the things clearly with my eyes open. So we had many rounds of that, and still my spirit said no, because God was showing me the signs, you know, behind those things. So it went on and on and on until I asked God to take me out of that position, because the position that I was in, I was very dizzy, and I felt like I needed to throw up, not just normal throw up. I felt like I needed to throw up from intestines out.
Being a billionaire is literally incomprehensible to the average human mind. While there are a lot of rich people on social media, no one is as rich as Chloe L, whose dad is an Indonesian billionaire that gets his family whatever they want. Multiple times a week they take their private jet to different countries just to have lunch, and her family has a koi fish pond where some of the fish are worth millions of dollars. In fact, they have so much money that they feed the fish fresh sashimi, which is hand cut by their private chef. Most of her jewelry is designer, but it's not the regular brands that cost a few $1,000s, as she always has to get it from their exclusive line and normally has around $1 million of ice on her neck. And while Chloe seems like a nice person and has a lot of supporters, there are an equal amount of people calling her out in the comments section, saying things like she's out of touch, and she is constantly contributing massive carbon emissions with the way that her family lives their lifestyle. And considering the economic state of Indonesia, the fact that her family pretty much runs the country because of their conglomerate has users saying that it's disrespectful for her to post her content.
This is the best flat earth proof, and why no one can drill through Antarctica. The ice wall is alive, and it's hiding something. NASA says satellites orbit in space, but why do 8,000-pound balloon rigs float at the edge of our dome instead? Why does Antarctica's ice wall heal itself when drilled, like a cosmic scab? And why do rockets launch only to hit a liquid sky that ripples like water? They claim we've mapped space, but 85% of our oceans are unexplored. Priorities, right? Earth isn't a lonely rock. It's a sealed flat plain. Satellites, balloons tethered to the dome, Antarctica's ice, a living barrier guarding the edge, that blue sky, water above the firmament, mirroring the 60% water in your body. They fake space because the truth, we're enclosed, would collapse their trillion-dollar CGI industry. Google high-altitude NASA balloons. They're right there, dangling tech over Earth, not space. Teams tried drilling Antarctica's ice for decades, only to hit sky ice that regenerates. Rockets? They don't escape. They splash against the dome like pebbles in a pond. And undersea cables? Proof we don't need satellites, when the real grid is under our feet. If you're done swallowing orbit fairy tales, hit follow. This is for entertainment purposes.
was so interesting, and we've come to the end. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and also share with your friends, and also click on the notification bell icon so that any content that I post, you will be the first to get it. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Adios amigos, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye.